Technology, tradition, transformation. 20 years have passed since the Hikaru V60 saw the light in the midst of a new wave of coffee enthusiasts, roasting artists, and skillful crafters on a pursuit of tasting notes, joyful scents, and human experiences. Today, a new light overwhelms our senses and blinds us to the pure act of pour-over coffee. Technology, as always, overcoming what is now tradition in an attempt to transform a ritual for the sake of time, convenience, progress? Hi, I'm Liz, and I believe that enjoying great coffee at home should not be a luxury. But sometimes, achieving that perfect cup requires some investment. And this is when devices like the Hikaru by Hiroia try to get into our kitchens and coffee bars to provide a new technological experience that gets us closer to perfection. But is it worth trying to fix what isn't broken? You see, you'll find several reviews out there talking about this machine's technical specifications, features, and first impressions with pre-production units. And I strongly recommend you go watch them if you haven't already. I'll link my favorite ones from Daddy Got Coffee and Emily Bryant. But in this video, I'll talk about this brewer from a true user perspective. At the time of this recording, not many have had the chance to truly test the Hikaru as their daily brewer to judge its real-life implementation, especially for those who, like me, experiment with coffee in every way possible, while still needing a daily driver to keep life in motion. I don't want to waste your time. So if you're here to know if I recommend you get your hands on the Hikaru, I'll be upfront with my conclusion. No, I don't think this is a device worth spending $650 on. In my honest opinion, there's no true purpose in this brewer. I'm not even sure who it was made for. If you're a pour-over fanatic, but you're willing to pay so you don't have to actually pour, you do you. Go ahead and buy it. If this is enough to convince you, please drop a like on your way out and go use this time to brew yourself a cup or enjoy another video. But if you want to know why I came to this conclusion, keep watching, because there's a chance you'll disagree with what I have to say. The Hikaru V60 Smart Brewer is created by Hiroia and the renowned Hikaru. It promises precise control and accuracy over extraction flow rate, water temperature, and brewing time. The word Hikaru means light, a name reflective of this halo light, which I find is a beautiful and functional design feature, even though I may not paint this machine in the best light. I have to admit, the Hikaru is highly intuitive and easy to use. And this is how it works in a nutshell. Prepare the filter and dripper setup. Select your serving size and recipe. Hit start and wait for it to brew. Perfect for those who don't want to bother learning how to brew pour-over coffee. It has 9 preset brewing recipes covering different capacities, small, medium, and large, and different roast levels, light, medium, and dark. But you're able to create a personalized recipe using their app. Alternatively, you can scan any QR code with a recipe for a particular coffee, created either by the roaster or someone else you know, and Hikaru will adjust those settings. Is there any roaster providing this on this side of the world? Not that I know of. Will that be a common thing in the future? I highly doubt it. However, this also means you can share your own recipes with others through a QR code as well, at least in theory. What happens if not enough people use the feature? Will they release the firmware as open source so that owners of the brewer can continue to support it if Hiroia abandons the product later? Only time will tell. What drew my attention was the design. It looks like a piece of modern art, something to be displayed, like a kitchen trophy of sorts. The LED lights around the halo will do different motions depending on what stage of the brew you're in, and the sound cues announce when the brew is completed if you have to step away. On the downside, I find that it takes a ridiculous amount of counter horizontal space. So many things can be put within 15 inches. In the time that I've had the unit, it's been a hassle as it takes literally half of my counter space, which means I'm constantly moving everything around to help it fit. Unless you have a large kitchen and maybe no other devices, you potentially will struggle to find where to put it to. That aside, I entirely love the Triton carafe and the glass stripper included. It feels great quality. And these are essentially the tools you're coming into contact with every day. Of course, my mind immediately thought, wow, I could use this manually outside of the Hikaru, which obviously defeats its purpose, but we cannot help how the brain works, right? With that said, let's talk about the real functionality of this smart brewer as a daily driver. And I'll tell you my honest truth around 3 key factors: the convenience of automation, real time savings, and consistency of taste when compared to a traditional V60 brew. The Hikaru brings an interesting solution to the lack of swirling. A solution that I feel far-fetched if you ask me, but a solution nonetheless, as it would have probably been complex and expensive to make this emulate a swirl, similar to what the $700 X-Bloom can do. Now, from my observation, it is the shower head pressurization what makes this machine different. At higher flow rates, it acts almost like a powerful jet. It creates convection turbulence in the slurry, while lower flow rates produce little to no turbulence. The center nozzle pour is stronger and larger size than the other four, but as you can see, all 5 of them pour statically in the same spots. This non-circular motion, or how they call it, variable turbulence traction, won't provide you with a flat bed when the brew is completed. The discussion around pour-over agitation has been a long one, and opinions are divided, but I am a firm swirl believer. I like to see a flatbed at the end of my brew. This can be attained in the Hikaru by swirling manually in between pours to add that agitation, of course. Nothing, absolutely nothing is stopping you from swirling manually. But then there's no point in automation, and ultimately on even using this device. If you just leave it be though, the result is a cone-shaped spent bed, which suggests an uneven extraction. I can't test it unfortunately, but the existing reviews show the Hikaru's traction rate reaches up to 19%. How does that compare in terms of taste though? We'll talk about that in a moment. Hiroia also produces the Samantha, an automated pour-over coffee maker with adjustable water flow created for commercial settings. The Hikaru is their home solution for the coffee aficionado, like my friend who bought this machine and lent it to me for a good while so I could make this review as honest as possible. He's a pour-over fanatic who appreciates specialty coffee, enjoys great quality beans, and brews pour-over at home every morning. He found in the Hikaru an opportunity to achieve consistency while saving time. But how much time do you actually save? And is it worth the investment at all? Let's find out. The Hikaru won't start preheating the water unless the tank is filled to the max, even if you intend to brew a small batch. After it starts preheating, it takes so long that if I hit start, I still have time to heat up some water in my kettle to rinse the filter, rinse it, weigh my beans, grind them, put them in the dripper, place the V60, and it will still be preheating. I tested brewing a manual V60 at the same time as the Hikaru, and side by side, there's no time saving happening here. Ultimately, you're not so much saving brewing time, but allowing yourself to do other things while the machine pours. Will I pay $400 on a Kickstarter, or even the $650 MSRP they say this will cost to save 3 minutes every morning? At the end of the day, you're doing all the work and only using the Hikaru to pour, which will basically make this a glorified kettle, and one that doesn't boil the water as it only reaches up to 96 degrees Celsius. So again, this isn't worth the price tag. And while there's no doubt that you can achieve consistency with this, are you getting the true flavors of coffee? Taste is subjective, and it is ultimately what truly matters. Beyond technology, beyond ratios, methods, formulas, recipes, or whatever we coffee nerds like to talk about, if you like the end result, nothing else matters. The Hikaru will bring you consistency in pouring, which is difficult to achieve when you're new at making pour-over. It's difficult, not impossible, and not as steep to learn as they claim. But this consistency will get you a decent cup all the time. However, achieving a truly consistent cup depends on many other factors: bean origin, roast level, roasting date, freshness of the beans, grind size, dosing, agitation, and all of this is still up to you, not the device. You will still need a good scale and a good grinder if you don't own one. Granted, this machine is not meant to replicate the traditional V60 method one-to-one, although its main pouring recipe is the 4-to-6 method invented by Tetsuya Suya for the V60. But Hiroia is betting on it becoming massively adopted so it serves its true purpose, which is to provide a consistent experience with roasters that create the right recipes with their pre-ground coffee. And the elephant in the room: who is this machine for, honestly? Should you buy it? This is my thinking process. If you already brew manual V60 pour-overs, this may not be the gadget for you. Although the Hikaru will pour water consistently, you are in control of the brew. You can achieve this with a $30 gear expense. If you are a coffee shop and thinking in a commercial application to make pour-overs more attainable for your staff, the Samantha is tried and tested and takes up a third of the counter space that this one does. There's no way to know if the Hikaru will hold up in a commercial environment without failing, and it surely wasn't made for that. So I'm thinking, if you don't care about the ritual of coffee making, want your coffee on easy mode, and you want to save 3 minutes in the morning, maybe a simple automatic drip will solve your issue, and with a much lower price tag too. I'm thinking Mocha Master, for example. But in the end, if you have money to spend and a large kitchen, and if you love collecting cool looking gadgets and you want a great looking machine to show off or something beautiful to look at, this is as good as it gets. If we lived in a world where most of our favorite coffee roasters sell pre-ground coffee specifically ground to be brewed with the variable turbulent extraction of the Hikaru, and they all provide us with a QR code with the perfect recipe for that roast, then this machine will make absolute sense, as it will truly merge the convenience and consistency they preach, while giving the masses access to the wonderful landscape of specialty coffee. However, for the roasters to implement this in their product, the Hikaru has first to be adopted by enough users so it can make business sense. But until roasters provide that support, there's no true reason for people to buy it, beyond the several hundreds of backers on their Kickstarter who had some disposable income, of which many probably have ended up not using it that much. The specialty coffee world runs on innovation. We need to keep evolving to keep the industry alive. I gotta say, I feel that Hario's involvement in this product is like them trying to reinvent the pour-over so many years later, but why try to fix what isn't broken? This is the V60 we're talking about, an incredible brewer I love and use every day, created with a human in mind, with their human hand and their human manual kettle pouring. The whole design works within that context. If you're creating a new machine which takes out the human, the hand, and the kettle, why not improve the whole design to truly automate the entire process? Oh wait, I think that already exists. Thank you for watching and have a great one.